Nice. Okay, hello and welcome to the February work meeting for the planning and zoning commission of Burlington. It is 5:37. And we are getting a late start due to some technical difficulties, so we are starting. So we have a work meeting for another 20-something minutes, and then we'll get started with our regular public meeting and public hearing. So glad you guys can join us, whether you knew you were or not. Oh, just make sure anyone in the audience, if you wouldn't mind, writing down your name on the list so that when the clerk goes through, she has your attendance recorded down. Thank you so much. So we don't have to do roll call for everybody to do the work meeting, it's just a work meeting, so normally we do them by ourselves.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things housekeeping. So I gave you guys a copy of the rules. Now they're fun. They're kind of funky. I got a whole bunch of different. These are basically Robert's rules, super simplified with, and they're written lightheartedly. And I wondered whether we should, whether I go, out in the public if they're funny. I think they give you good examples for anyone who maybe doesn't know. And the important part I want you to see, we got to vote on these next time, okay? I didn't know this one needed a copy, so we won't vote till next time on approving these, but this is what we're gonna kind of follow. Basically, what it says is, we're gonna do our best to do Robert's rules.
Is this different than what you guys had last year?
I don't really know what we had last year.
Say the board last year.
Yeah, we approved them every year.
Okay.
So, and I don't even know what the copy, I don't even know what the rules are. I should have got it from Cameron, but anyway, so we're gonna use the end that says application of rules, last page. This is the important part to me. Application of rules by meeting type. So when we do a work meeting, we are not gonna do, it says right there, we don't have to do the formalized rules, okay? I think the discussion for what we're doing is really important. So that's, everyone look over that and make sure they feel comfortable. That's what I'd like to do. So we'll vote on these next time. Okay, and meanwhile, we'll just go with what we know of the old rules of order. We also tonight, what?
We don't have to vote on
We
these.
have to vote on these today. Do you want us to approve the calendar today, or do you want us to do that next time?
You can approve the calendar.
Okay, yes, so we'll do this during our meeting too.
Okay.
Thanks to Darlene, she went through and fixed my unlinkable calendar. Thank you very much for doing that. You did. You didn't know you did? You did. Thank you.
You're so good to know.
So if anybody, this is on your SharePoint too, but we'll need to vote on that next time. Also, while we're talking about meeting times, for our work meeting, I think I just need to find out from you, Darlene, if everybody was okay with your.
On the 22nd.
Yeah, on the 22nd.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll move that work meeting to the 22nd, then that's a Thursday instead of a Wednesday.
And what date was that?
Okay, so our next work meeting, the one coming up, the big one, get ready, guys, that's gonna be a heavy one.
So it'll be on the
It'll be
22nd.
on the 22nd though, yeah. Okay,
Is that 4:30?
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, yeah. And thanks to the clerks for adding it to their schedule, because they have to be there whenever we meet, so when we have to work, they have to work, so it's nice of them. How's
You're doing it on
everybody?
the 22nd, you said?
22nd. On the
But you're
20th.
doing it the 21st.
We were, but we had to change for
Somebody's not gonna be here.
for one of the commissioners couldn't make it, and we have so much to do that we need to all be there for that one. Are you good? Okay, as you can see by her face, I forgot to check with Crystal.
Tom,
Yes.
I'm wondering, an hour and a half for a big meeting is not a lot of time.
That's right. So what are you thinking? Larry wants to do it every day next.
I didn't even have to talk about
Tell me what you're thinking. Don.
I don't know, I just don't know whether an hour and a half is enough
It
time.
goes really fast, so. That's we have to negotiate with that with her. Because, and also miss,
Mhm.
the other thing we can do is, just be really good at doing our homework. We're gonna have, and we could schedule another work week, the next week
Okay.
after that, and I'm up for it, because I'll be
Okay.
working anyway. So if anybody wants another work meeting, we can beg, maybe we'd have to do it early in the day, he's gonna be gone.
I'm only got 3 days.
Oh, you're back the next week?
Yeah, I'm only on Monday.
Let's see what kind of gluttons for punishment we are. I'm open to it, if that's what you guys wanna do.
Ken's good with.
I don't know, Ken,
I'm good.
he's always, Ken, he's solid. He's busy too. Okay, I wanted to take a minute, we're so late in time, I hate to do it so rushed, but let's go over what we're doing today. Has everybody had a chance to kind of look at the business of today?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone want to start? Do you want to have discussion now? Kind of questions? What are we?
The only, the zone change where there's 5 irregular shaped lots and
Yeah,
only 2 of the 5 even qualify unless they're joined.
yeah, so yeah, let me show you. Let's go and get on your slides. Show we'll talk about
Oh.
that. I have some more information for you. So if you go on slide 7, this gives us our basis in code for what we need to do. And we always have to follow what's actually in there, not what we.
Sure.
But anything else, that's our, so is it working?
It is, but it's so small I can't see.
Oh, it's so tiny, okay. So we're doing, oh, that is terribly tiny.
I don't know how to zoom in.
So if you wanna go into Vulu, can you get in Vulu?
Yes.
Oh, oh, you don't have anything. Okay, so in Vulu, what it says, I'm just seeing if you're following me, but they're not, so, but anybody who wants to. In Vulu, we've got 2 things, the guidance for this, and I was. Even this one? I don't know if anything's gonna come up there, I don't think she can move it, she's just got to stop. You don't have the. You don't have the slide? Cause maybe if we put it up there, they can do it better, it's
So what's
so
the-
hard to go. So check section 4006. What, 7? So we'll be rotating from six back and forth, 6, 7, and 8.
That's great. I
So
guess.
that's 8. So that's 7, go back to 6 if you can. Okay,
Also, like,
so what this says, you guys, is everything along the commercial zone at this point, has, state route 9, frontage is eligible, I mean, not eligible, it's eligible to be zoned as commercial, okay? It has to be on the highway, right? And then the other thing, and this was passed, I guess, last, what did we decide? June or July, was, and it's in a funky place, so. You can look up there, is it September, but this is kind of, thank you, that. Okay, so we have lots smaller than 1 acre established before 2022, which these were. That meet all other requirements, which would be being along Highway 9. Okay, and about the existing commercially zoned lot may be rezoned. So the third one, the problem. A parcel number B75, which I think is what you were bringing up, is that right?
Right, well, there's 3 of them that were, one's a corner lot that was less than an acre. And
Okay, so all those, so we've got B72, 74, 49, and 48, none of those are on the highway, so none of those are out. Okay, so we'll have to craft the ordinance, we're gonna do these, we'll probably vote on them 1 by 1, just because they're.
And we, but it's,
Yeah, you can, you don't have to vote on the whole thing, you can make motions separately. I asked,
my fears were creating a bigger mess than just asking the applicant to merge a couple of them, and have 2.
she's not interested in doing that, and it's not really us to tell her to do that. But
But we're creating
well,
a real mess, and we're gonna have a hard time with pieces of it, I guess, because
so listen, so. We just have to vote on it, and see, as we go.
yeah,
I mean, this one just has to meet the requirements, and, there's not. I mean, it's eligible as soon as it abuts something. That is, on highway.
Even though it's a half an acre?
Yeah, so, yeah. It's 0.8 of an acre. And yes, this is what this is, a lot smaller than 1 acre. We did this last, whatever, just in September, but and that's probably right. So there was about 6 lots along the highway that were smaller than an acre, but they were eventually gonna be surrounded by commercial no matter what. So this ordinance, this piece of this section, which is in the funny place, by the way, we need to put it in a better place.
Yeah. It's half an acre, I mean.
It's 0.51, is that not 81?
0.5.
0.5.
We wrote this specifically so we wouldn't have these little pieces either stuck in between something or hanging out.
Right.
And so if it meets all the other requirements, then it can be
So
rezoned.
reading that where it says, meets all the other requirements, that it butts an existing commercial property. And we do it in 2 phases, where we vote for lot 73 and 53, and then add going 75, and then add these other 3. Because now there'll be a budding commercial property along the 9.
Well, I have to be an attorney and that, I don't know about doing it that way, what I prefer to do is each lot, we're gonna vote on each person separately because I just think that's appropriate. So it actually would be, a budding property at that point,
Right.
so.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to get the property owner what they're looking for, since it looked like it qualifies as a piece of commercial land.
I think with the intent of the code is. It doesn't,
Isn't a requirement that it be on SR9?
that's right, it is.
So those.
The first, yeah, the first,
Okay.
ones that are in the back, they don't.
Okay.
And she knows that, so. I think we're okay, so we good? I know this is does anybody else have any comments on that one? Yeah,
Yeah, I have concerns about it.
tell me.
I know that it's eligible, quote unquote,
Mhm.
parts of it. But I have concerns about the effects on, neighborhoods, with respect, and I don't think we have a lot of control in our ordinances with respect to how different things would affect like rural and residential areas. So, I think that, that there needs to be some discussion, about certainly the ones that aren't on SR9. But if you think about what kind of impact these can take place, just like there are police ordinances, which are, okay,
Really strong.
you can have it, commercial, do anything you want, put up a McDonald's, put up a motel. I mean, these are serious, high use, impact commercials that we don't have control over by just saying, yep, commercial, go for it. And, there's potential historical things as far as residences around this neighborhood and across the streets from them, so. I think, as a work meeting today, it's mindful that we consider looking at our ordinance and building it so that we have more control, specifically in areas like this. If I go back out to the other end of town and I look at what we're considering across from Desert Gardens, that's a really different picture in a lot of ways. It's not the downtown, it's not the old historical place, it's out on the highway, Arthur Entry. There are some residential around it, but it's, to just plop down Big Motel Hill, think how much that affects the neighborhood of,
Oh, yeah,
the historical part of the.
I 100% agree with everything you said. The difficulty, and you said this too, I think, is that our ordinances don't give us, because we have, at this point, right now, hopefully not soon, we have eligibility and eligibility tier of approval, and then we have the actual approval. And if or we did, and as soon as we made it, everything eligible along there, and have no other language that gives us any discretion except for,
Yeah, imagine if it was, something in the way of, more quiet business type
like
district
a,
zone.
like a cottage commercial zone?
Exactly,
How about that?
exactly.
Right.
So, so you could have, you know, small business offices, even maybe some small stores. Those kinds of things, it's gonna affect this corner very differently than if we just allow, a Hilton or something else to go into that spot. So I think that, we don't at this point have a choice on this when we come to the meeting today on this. Other than what is bordering SR nine, but we do have a choice going forward in the next few months.
I disagree that we do have a choice today, at our training,
So
we learned,
we just let him, you'll be right, please, we want your response.
No,
You're
I'm finished.
Okay.
I-
It's your, go ahead.
we learned that, as long as there are, reasonable, reasonably debatable issues like we just discussed, that it is not a guarantee that there is wide discretion. And this was from legal people who gave us several presentations, given to municipalities. And there is no change in the legislative action. So yes, you have to be, whereas if it was an administrative action, you would not.
All right. Thanks, that's good.
Another point as far as the law goes, as far as I understand, it, based on my homework, because I've been spending my nights doing fun things like looking up laws. The other thing that's important for us to know is when we're doing town actions like this is, and I think it's in our code. And if not, it's in the Utah State Code, and I can get you the reference because you'll want it. With ordinances, it's kind of like a tie goes to the renter thing. With our ordinances, if we have to go, we need to, if all else is equal, fine for the applicant. It is slanted slightly for the applicant, so there's that. And I can, and I think that's just meant to remind us that we're here for the people in our town. So that's another thing to remember when, you know, we do want to try with the town, with our town, with people in our towns. Meet the needs of the town, that's what we're here for. But go ahead.
Yes.
I can tell you what.
Well, and yes, and I just want us to understand that that's not always an automatic change, especially when we have deep concerns about our general plan, about our current ordinances. And, if we are not comfortable with every single one of those uses, we do have a right to deny at this time, not forever, but to allow us to get our ordinances together so they match our general plan, so that our zoning can match subdivision general plan. Because I just worry that if we just look ahead, we're going to create more difficult problems to solve.
Yeah, we can't think it, you know, it can't be like an anticipatory decision, because that is following our code, but you, I think wherever we have discretion, we need to exercise it fully, right? But we do have to follow the code, so. So do we want to talk about anything else in this one, is it be kind of? Now, the other thing is, I suggest that we, when we do, when the public is, when we're hearing from the public, so, because I don't know if it got put on the agenda the way that I like, but if we end up doing it the way I want, but you know, you never know. I would like to make sure we discuss all of our notes for public hearing. I think that's an important piece. We don't have to do it, we can do it on the one group. All right. So anybody else have anything you want to talk about for the last couple minutes before we move into our regular meeting?
Is it possible to do some kind of stopgap measure, resolution or something that would give us some time to, come up with a better ordinance for this club?
No. Again, there's not one at our disposal, the town council has some tools to do certain things, but
So we could recommend that to
We-
the council.
well, we could, but I think when we pick what we do, I mean, I think, and we'll get, hopefully, in our discussions after. We can, I really. We've all said the same things to the, so. I did some groundwork for all of the things we've been talking about, so I hope to present those to you guys today. You know, after our meeting, so, the way forward is what we're after, yes, definitely.
And I thought at the same training that, the attorney said that we're not supposed to consider the use, just the zone when they're applying for the zone change.
That's right.
And if the use in the stating is something that we're not comfortable with, then it's up to us to go back and change the ordinance. Not, but all we can do today based on,
We have to go to the ordinance today, and then we have to make a really good decision. There's lots of, we have so much room to improve our ordinances. That's the good thing about how they are,
if
right?
we're worried about a hotel being close to a house, and we need to write an ordinance that says that.
That's right,
They can have
that's
it, but-
right. When you need to be specific.
But today, we have to vote on it just based on,
That's right.
is it eligible for commercial?
I think you're right.
Well, that's what.
I disagree.
I think that's good. That's why we're all, so there's this minute, I said. Okay. And I look forward to your comment.
And,
Are we, yes,
and use is the one thing we can't consider, but if there's continuing concern.
Indeed, this was reasonable.
I think you made it back where.
no,
You said,
Rockdale, or it was,
you said, if it was an administrative decision. But you said it was legislative. There's reasonably debatable issues.
on the zone itself.
Well, he mentioned, the same project in both.
So I thought he said, you know, that the example in Rockdale was the applicant was applying for the zone change to commercial, the piece of property was eligible for the commercial zone change. But everybody in town knew the developer wanted to build a 34 building and hated the project, but couldn't vote against it because.
That was the problem, those who been submitted. And then at that time, every time the first it said if it was about a zone change or that whole zone.
so I wanna take 5 minutes or maybe 4, of a break before we start our meeting, maybe a potty break or anything else, we take 5 minutes. 4 or 5 minutes. We'll be back.
Reminder for those of you that are in the audience, who did not sign the sign-in sheet, if you go ahead and please do so.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I think we're about ready to start. All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order. It is 6:07. We're running slow today. This is the Burtontown Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting and a public hearing. But in the regular meeting for February 13th, 2024. And in attendance, we have Commissioner
Valerie Wins.
Ken Peters.
Ron Wallace.
Larry McCray.
Darlene Foley.
Thanks, and I hope everybody that is here in the audience, make sure you sign up so we can have your attendance on the It's kind of like a rule. You really do have to sign up, like, otherwise I have to go write the names down one by one, and I don't want it. So please, write them down for me, thank you. Let's see. So we need to do, first of all, a declaration of, conflict of interest, so.
No.
This is our first time, so. You got it.
No.
Oh, no,
So,
no, okay, and just remember, when, the reason we do that is, doesn't mean, you're not giving yourself. You need to state, if you, doesn't mean you can't vote, doesn't mean anything other than you're making the public aware that as part of your deliberation, you have, you know, a conflict of interest. So let's make sure we're really on the up and up with that. Oh, Crystal, are you going to be in charge of this? We gotta vote, you guys are gonna vote for our chair and then pro tem, so. Sometimes the clerk does it, but if you, sure.
I will take a motion and someone, or I will take a.
You gotta know.
Someone needs to nominate somebody to, for chair.
I would like to nominate Bronwyn Wallace.
I second that.
And let's do roll call vote on that.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
Yes.
thanks, guys, okay, party started. Oh, it's unanimous.
Chair, would you like to go ahead and?
I would like to, yeah, so would like a motion and a nomination for, a pro tem, that means I'm not here, or anything? Do you get to be in charge?
nominate Ken.
Oh, I second that. Let's vote. Al?
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, Karen. Motion that,
Motion passed unanimously.
can you tell me the motion that?
Larry. Okay, we're not doing the rules today, we need to approve our meeting calendar, we went over that, so if I can get a motion?
I moved as modified that we adopt the approve for the calendar.
I second that.
Second by Darlene,
Yes.
Yes,
yes? We're voting that way.
Modification, just changing the, yes, changing the 21st.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all in favor, unanimous, everybody said yes, we just approved the minutes, no, the calendar, not the minutes. Now we're gonna do the minutes. Did everybody have a chance to look them over? If you didn't, that's okay, you did?
I did,
Did you see them after or before I got to them?
that depends, I just checked it today.
Okay.
Check it.
All right, anybody have any other changes or anything that,
I wasn't at that meeting, so.
oh, yeah.
Minor spelling.
You could have helped with the spelling and typos though.
I was at that meeting and, open forum comments. It might have been one. Commissioner comments were not included. And, if we compare the summary statements of everybody who testified at the public hearings, it's lacking.
Okay, do you have changes ready that you could give to Crystal?
No, you need to go and make them.
Well, that's, oh, I'm sorry, do you have changes that you could make and then give to Crystal?
I do.
Okay, if you feel they're significant, we can wait, we can vote on, I mean, it's getting kind of late, let's make sure we have it done for next month, but we can do that, right? So, how do we got point of order, I just say we're gonna,
You want a motion
yeah, I'm
to
gonna motion,
table them to the
we'll
next
table them to the
following.
next meeting and we'll vote on this. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and a vote?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we all voted a couple times, we're good. All right. Here's the fun, okay, try to get to you guys fast, right? So it's open forum right now, so you have 2 minutes to talk about anything not on the agenda. So if you have something to say, something you want us to know, start thinking about, just come on up, just make sure you state your name, so Chris could get that down, and so I can get it written, so I know who said what, and, please, feel free to comment. All right, so there's no, open forum comment? Okay, all right, we will move on then. Commissioners. We might not do this in order, every time, but right now, unless someone wants to move our comments to later.
I just have a comment. We have an opportunity to support a local resident and business owner. And I would urge everybody to vote for the name of the piece of property next to the old post office on SR9. I think you can vote till the 29th.
Oh,
Right, you can call April or stop into the office, but Crystal, what did I say? April. Oh, sorry.
And I believe I can email her choice to you as well, Chris. Is that correct?
Correct.
So does everyone know what we're talking about? Okay. Any comments?
No.
No. Okay.
Question, please,
So,
about what you're talking
oh,
about.
about what we're talking about.
Just wondering, you mentioned support a local resident, so I'm not informed about how that supports local resident, but what you said about that.
Well, it's a local resident, local business,
Uh,
so that's what I meant by that.
that is wanting to put a cafe there, is that right?
Correct. Correct.
So, yeah, we're just talking about a piece of property that's already belongs to the public,
Yeah,
right? Just a name, we're just going for a name on that one,
okay.
okay? All right, yeah, it's supposed to be fun. So that's my comment, to be able to name a piece of property, you know, what you want it to be moving forward, I think that's fun. Okay, although I haven't done my job in 30 years, okay.
I have a comment,
Oh, please,
since this is an open comment.
it's your commissioner comment, you can do whatever you
And
want.
since Val opened the barn door, I feel really strongly about this issue of changing a city park. City parks can last forever. I mean, something to a city that is really hard to acquire as we go through our history. To give it up and give up the name of that city park as a park that applies to our rules and regulations in the state of Utah's rules and ordinances and regulations and laws, I think is really critical and not just something that we should take lightly. I don't believe it's about helping a developer with their business as that is important as considering the town citizens having a city park. And so I feel really strongly that there's some kind of conflict of interests there.
Thank you. Do you have any comments? Darlene?
Just wanting the mayor for offering us that opportunity to do that training. It was very enlightening. I feel very excited about this journey, our journey as a group.
Thanks, Darlene. All right, I need a motion so that we can go into public hearing.
I move we close the public meeting and open the public hearing.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. No, you wanna vote on that?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
me, yes,
Yes.
Yes.
all in favor. Okay, so we are now gonna start our public hearing portion of our meeting, which I know is why you're out here, okay? So we'll start, for comment, let's start with, item number 1, which is zone change rezoning. Parcels V48D, V53, V74, V75. From rural residential to commercial zone. And anyone has any comments on that? Please, come up, state your name. We'd like to hear it. And I will remind you, since no one's up there yet, during public comment, we can't answer you and you can't ask us a direct question. But we're taking notes. This is when you give us the information that we need to think about, right? And then we'll discuss your comments later. Not later, like not discuss them later, but we actually will discuss your comments later and take them into consideration. So. Anybody has any comments?
I can,
You?
is this for public?
No, you're not public, you're not considered public.
Okay.
Right.
I would.
When we go back to our meeting, oh, here we go.
Hey, so I can stand on opposite side.
Give us your name.
Who are you?
To stare at you all.
I'm sorry, sir, we don't know your name.
Cameron Spenlow. So I just want to make a comment in support of the zone change, for 3 of the parcels. I think, those would be, only 3 of those would be eligible. The 4 that are back, probably would not meet the requirements of the zone. And then clarification, I think that the 1 parcel is actually residential, not rural residential, so I don't know if that language needs to be changed. I do support it, it has commercial properties across the street from it, ones you were just mentioning. I did also want to mention that, though the town does have discretion in zone changes because there's legislative action, the town of Virgin has tied its hands much more than any other municipality has when it comes to zone change because of the inclusion of the location of the zones within our. So where other towns have a very broad discretion on rezoning, I think Virgin has a much narrower discretion and more harm would have to be shown to deny a zone change with the ways Virgin has structured its own ordinances. And then I also wanted to comment, I've heard concerns about motels and things like that on there. So I think it's important to point out that there's a difference between conditional use and permitted uses. Motels is definitely not a permitted use within the zone. There are also large restrictions involving motels and other high impact uses that are within the commercial zone. So if you review the commercial zone, you'll see that the primary and permitted uses are almost entirely low impact uses. And it's also important to pay attention to the setback requirements and other protections that are provided by the rules of the zone. Kent mentioned a hotel earlier, so that this, even if you combined all those properties, you're still relatively small as far as acreage. The number of rooms that would be, the number of rooms a motel could have would be restricted by the size of the parcels. And so a hotel would not be able to fit on that. A hotel of any size would not be able to fit on that. Would a bed and breakfast? Yes, but a hotel would not be able to fit on that, even if you combine all the parcels into one, because of the room restriction per acre, as outlined in chapter 8. I think, or 16, hopefully you can see those. So anyway, yeah, I wanted to speak in support of the zone change with the exception of the 4 parcels that we include. Thanks.
Thanks, Cameron. All right, so let's move to item 2 then. We're gonna take comments for rescinding ordinance, 2023-12. That had amended Virgin Town's official zoning map by rezoning B-2-1-21-2342 from rural residential to commercial zone.
Good evening, commissioners. I am here to represent the owner of that lot. I did lay out, oh yes, Tyson Raymond. I am from the law firm Gallion Walker and Associates. So I did lay out my client's position in a letter that was sent to me yesterday. And would ask that that be part of the record before the commission. Commissioner Pope We did at the end of that, letter request that you, recuse yourself from any decision or comments on this based upon your prior public comments on this issue prior to being commissioner. So, we outlined our basis here. There has been discussion, I know I showed up for the open meeting or the work meeting on accident, but it was, useful to understand, what you guys are considering. So, there was an ordinance that was passed back in June, I believe as well, that allowed this parcel to be, open for commercial consideration. However, as I outlined in the letter, my client's position is that it has always been commercial. There is not an ordinance on the books that Virgin has been able to produce that shows that this has been zoned at any point as rural residential. There was a change on the map, and a map change under Utah law does not mean that the zoning was actually changed. It has to be done by ordinance. So there is no record, public record showing any ordinance moving this property into rural residential. My client believes that this, taking away the commercial designation or attempting to the extent that this ordinance or proposed ordinance is meant to do that, is contrary to what FULU says and what state law says. As state law states, you were to consider the general plan when you are looking at zone change. The general plan specifically outlines that this, the plan is for it to be commercial. So along the highway corridor is what it states. So to be reasonably debatable, you have to be looking at the general plan, and the general plan states it needs to be commercial. So we believe that it would be not reasonably debatable, or in legal terms, arbitrary and capricious to move this out of commercial designation. So I did a thorough outline of the case law and the laws outlining that in the letter. I don't know that I want to repeat myself too much. I understand the commission doesn't ask questions, but I'm happy if later in the meeting the commission does want to ask me any specific questions to come back up.
Thank you.
My name is Pat Galvez. I live in Desert Garden Estate here in Virgin. I guess if everything on State Route 9 is supposed to be commercial, why do we have a whole neighborhood on the south side of that same highway? Not really a strong precedent from what I can see. But I really wanted to talk about what I mentioned back in December, planning and zoning, my concern about traffic, congestion, and safety. That area on State Route 9 by this property is 55 miles an hour. And from the gift shop heading west, the speed goes up to 55. I would hope that a requirement for any commercial development there will have their own turn lanes at the developer's cost. Our neighborhood has turn lanes into it. You look at the RV park on the east side of town, they have turn lanes. That motel has turn lanes. Even White Bison in the 45 zone has turn lanes. But congestion is a problem and going to be a problem for any major type of business on that property. What has happened in the past, if it was commercial or residential or proven or not proven, I don't know. I haven't lived there that long. But I did talk to the county recorder, and they told me, regardless of their records, the municipality has a say in what the zoning is on any property. The town records overtake county records. So I also want to bring up again what I said in December. There's commercial zones and Harvard resort zones in the center of town, on the east side of town, that have been in for decades, to my knowledge, and they're not developed yet. before we look at expanding and making any more commercial zones, especially in a town that's on a limb or thin ice about where the water and where the sewage is gonna go. Let's just keep it the way it is and not allow more opportunities for any kind of business or conditional use permits, motels, who knows what, to come forward. Let's just make sure we have the horse in front of the cart before we expand. And finally, UDOT and their speed zones in this town make it very tough for any kind of planning. The 45 through downtown, the 55s on the edges of town, everything could be done better if UDOT would just give us lower speed limits in this town. Then we wouldn't have as much danger, congestion, and potential risks. I was coming out of my neighborhood about 3 days ago. I think I waited for about 16 to 18 cars heading towards Zion before I could make a left turn and head down to Lowerton, and then there was a car behind me. So it's an issue. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm David Tate. I live in Desert Garden Estates as well. And I want to second everything that Pat said. First of all, and I appreciate him articulating it so well. These concerns that I would share as well, particularly around the traffic issues. So I've spoken before, and as a resident of Desert Garden Estates, looking at my property out there that would be straight across from this development, lot 3-47. We will walk out our front door and get to look over at food trucks and lights, and that just from a visual standpoint is not a very appealing thing to me. And I really appreciate what the mayor wrote in the newsletter recently about understanding that we're trying to, as best as we can, make this a place that's beautiful for all of us. When people drive into our town right now, what they see is a nice residential area on the right, and on the left, nice homes there. It's residential. That's the feel that we can continue to carry on as people enter our community, rather than hit and miss residential and commercial, which visually would not be appealing to me anyway. More to the point, and the visual as far as light pollution with the commercial property there is a real concern to me as well. We're already having that imposed on us with the unfortunate placement of the gas station. Now, we can't turn our head away, like the mayor was saying, she's has to do, but to avoid the sound that would be coming our direction. I love music. I have children who are professional musicians. It's not about music. It's about that it's being imposed on us at times that we don't want to hear it, or music that we don't want to hear. That close, just hundreds of feet away from so many homes there, we would have that imposed on us, whatever the choices are made there. That is not honoring the supporting of creating a community where we're really trying to create a residential feel in the residential areas. That's fine in some place where that's the design, the purpose of it, but that would be something we could not turn away from, whether we're out working in our yard and garden during the day, or trying to get to sleep at night, whatever the case may be. It would be a great intrusion that I imagine any of us could appreciate. We wouldn't want to be imposed on us. And so I would ask you to seriously consider that as well. I'm very grateful to this commission that you are reconsidering this question. That's all I have to say, and I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
I was asked to address the commission on this just from administration law point of view. I have no opinion one way or the other. First, the general plan suggests commercial should be along SR 9.
Excuse me, sir, can you state your name?
Gene Ruddy, zoning administrator. Second, the eligibility was passed by a duly appointed commission and council and was not challenged by the public. Third, it was again passed as a commercial zone by a duly appointed commission and a duly elected council. At this point, revisiting it will likely fall under what is considered a taking by the state. That creates a high possibility of unnecessary lawsuits, which will likely have a very high threshold of being on the part of the plaintiff. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fred Cameron, Stone again. I just really wanted to stand up here again and be on this side again, so.
Yes,
That's mostly the reason I got up here, but, I just want to speak in, I would be not in support of the ordinance to rescind this. I think that there are a lot of concerns and a lot of issues with sound and traffic and all that, those things. Those should not be those are part of the discussion when it comes to the conditional use permit. Those are part of the discussion when it comes to UDOT and engineering and traffic stuff and all that. That all comes later after the zone change, and so I think when you're looking at the zone change, I think you need to focus on the general plan and you need to focus on what the ordinances say. And Gene mentioned those earlier, so I won't repeat that. I do believe though that if the town was to move ahead and obviously this wouldn't be you all because you're just making a recommendation, but if the town did go ahead and rescind this or revoke this ordinance, I think that would be considered a taking at this point. Though the town does have broad discretion in zone changes, as I've mentioned before with the other one, the town has limited itself in its ability to make the decision about zone changes because of the way it's structured, its laws. And so I think that has to be taken into consideration, and that's something that you all need to remember unless you decide to change it, which the lawyer has recommended before, but has not ever been done. That has to be remembered and considered throughout all the trainings that you take about the discretion towns have in zone changes. So I would not be in support of the current ordinance. I think it should remain. I think that the concerns about sound and all that need to be addressed, but their addressment should not be in a zone change form. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shyla Kuikahi, and I'm extremely nervous talking in public, but here we go. Okay, so I want to also, I'd like for it to stay commercial. I'm a local resident. I've been impacted by a lot of the commercial. I'm right next to White Bison, so I understand everyone's concerns with their way of living, because you have to shift, you have to change. I'd rather shift and change for local businesses to create something that could highlight Virgin in a beautiful way. I'd like to move forward with less fear and ask the questions and maybe kind of connect with, we met like the other night. So just kind of understanding what that plan is and just share my concern and, but also like motivate and all of our neighbors to kind of work together instead of just being so divided, figuring out ways to, work together? How can they do something, or how can we preach something that we don't want to happen when they probably don't know the full scope of work? My background is very large music festivals, so I understand impact from noise, lights, everything. I'm ready and shaky, but so that is my opinion. I just wanted to share support for people who are trying to make a difference and expand Virgin in a beautiful way versus by developments, because if people then have to sell because they can't produce or make or curate what they're passionate about, who's the next person we have to come up against? So let's just work locally together and figure out a way to make everything work. So it's like a neighborhood and community, small, but we all can be proud of.
Thank you.
I'm also really nervous. I'm Marcia. I used to be a resident here in Virgin. I settled Marcia Rasmussen. I did sit on the planning commission for 6 years, so I kind of understand the job that y'all had to do. And I think I just wanted to address, I think, a few comments that I don't know who it was that, not Spinlove, the other gentleman. I think he was trying to it seemed like he was trying to reflect that maybe the planning commission has input over what UDOT does, and I am a realtor, by the way. And I did help Michelle get that property, but realistically, UDOT will be dealing directly with the person, the developer. And yes, they will absolutely require turn lanes, or they'll make a whole different access. So that's a pretty big issue, and Michelle was very well aware of that when she bought the property. We had talked all about it. So that shouldn't be an issue of your guys's, other than the fact that when the plans come in, you'll be able to look at it. I think the other thing is as I sat on the planning commission for 6 years, we had always talked about all the properties along that corridor ultimately becoming commercial, because it just makes sense. They're not an ideal use for residential there because of the traffic. And realistically, the only way you're ever going to get UDOT to agree to lower the speed limit along there is to get more uses, get stoplights, get more walkable traffic. I know we had ultimately talked about having a walkable version for residents to actually walk to cafes, to restaurants, to bakeries, and that was what our goal was to have a real walkable community, to try to take away that really busy highway that dissects Virgin in two, and to try to bring it together. But the only way you're gonna get it is through businesses along that highway that help to start reducing that traffic. I don't think if you just have single residences here and there, that UDOT's ever gonna lower that traffic. You need to have businesses come in to support the town's base. And again, bring stoplights into the town. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Last chance, anybody want to say anything else? Okay, all right, can I get a motion?
I motion to close the public hearing. And
Thanks, you did great. All right, we've got a motion and a second,
Yes.
yeah?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
yes. All right, with that, we will close the public hearing, open the public meeting again. And let's take our first item there, which is the Hall zone change, and let's, we need your comment on that, discussion, motion, let's discuss it.
Yeah, thank you, and the work meeting before this, you kind of answered my questions, but my only concern was that there's really only 3 lots that qualify for commercial right now. And I'm assuming the owner, the property owner is trying to get all of it rezoned as commercial. And I think you said we could split it up if they're the ones that are eligible, and worry about the other ones at some other time, is that?
Well, because they all have different statuses, I think we'll just take them individually.
So each lot individually.
I think we will, yeah, I think that's good. So anybody, having a further discussion on this, let's talk, yes.
Okay, so help me understand as far as your procedure today, where we're at, or did we discuss what the public has now discussed and it's our turn to talk about it?
We talked about it, yeah.
Okay.
We're not doing it.
I have a
We-
comment.
On our, we have to stick with this, we have to stick with this item, because the way the agenda was written, we can't have an open discussion, so we just have to talk about this.
Got it. Okay, do you need a motion on this to change, go back?
Well, you can give me a motion, and then we can have a discussion. That'd be great.
So a motion to close the public
Yeah,
hearing,
we did.
open the public meeting.
Okay, we got that.
Okay.
Thank you. So go ahead, give us your comment on this one.
I was on the planning and zoning commission when we sent this forward and recommended to the town council that it be zone commercial. To this date, I don't think they found out.
Wait, which one are we talking about?
Are we supposed to be talking?
We're talking about, yeah, let's talk about
Apologize.
the hall.
Apologize.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
So as I mentioned before, on Hall's, property, I think we have to be careful, to pick at this point, what we think should and shouldn't be as far as allowing commercial and so forth, and I think, I appreciate comments from, previous, people on planning and zoning and town council that, this is on the highway, these lots that are on the map. And, some of them, I believe that we should do those to be allowed to be commercial. And, I think we've had a discussion in on our, work meeting today about, the importance of types of commercial and how it can affect neighborhoods, because this is an area that is surrounded by residential and rural residential. And certain things, may have large impacts upon commercial and upon residential area that could be negative to those property owners that live there, and we need to be mindful as a commission going forward with our efforts to protect and be mindful and sensitive to those properties.
Thank you. You don't need to be done, but it's just the point of order because of the way that our, I don't know what you call it, but anyway, because of the way this is written, I'm gonna have to take a motion too before we talk about this anymore, right? We don't have discussion on it. Discussion, I can do it, we don't have to discuss. No.
You're in the
Scared.
meeting, you guys can.
No, I know, but anyway, you're right.
No.
Okay, you're good. Okay. Val, tell me what you think.
Well, I feel like our hands are tied almost, because today, the way our ordinance reads, is certain parcels in this property are eligible. And as I think it was Cameron was saying, the particulars of it come up when you, decide what the use is gonna be in that commercial zone. So I know people have hesitancy to make it commercial because of the impact on the surrounding residential neighborhoods, but I think it's fine other way.
Okay, thank you. Darlene, do you have something you want to say on this one?
Yes. I strongly believe we should update our general plan to reflect what the town wants. And then develop our zoning map and adjust our ordinance to both of those before considering any new zone changes. Also, I do not believe all the uses currently allowed. And there's confusion even within the different chapters that talk about uses and ordinances. Those uses which are currently allowed in a commercial setting are appropriate to land so close to residential lots. And I think it's clear that we have discretion. That's it.
Thank you.
So I agree that our general plan needs updating and some of the zoning ordinances are probably need a little attention. But I feel like we've got an application in front of us and we have to make a decision based on the ordinances we have now. And the general plan kind of says, it doesn't kind of say, it says that we want commercial on the 9, I especially think this end of town, where there's already commercial use, that these lots qualify for and probably should be commercial. My only concern is that we're not gonna be able to vote on all of them tonight, but that's the applicant's, I guess, job to fix that. But the general plan and the majority of the residents that we were involved in creating the general plan, over almost 70% of the people that were surveyed said that they want the 9 to be zoned commercial. So with that in mind, my goal would be to allow the lots that qualify because of their shade of frontage on the 9 to be rezoned commercial. And I agree that there's some uses that I wouldn't want next to my house either, but that's something that we can work on later.
May I respond?
Let me give my comment, and then you can another shot. Is that okay? All right. So as I look at this, it's pretty clear. Chapter 40.06 reads, and I wish we could put it up on the screen. I want to give you guys my PowerPoint. I have a beautiful PowerPoint. I just want you to know, but we couldn't get it to come out. Oh, or do you have it? Okay, give us that.
You tell me what page.
Okay, I think it's 7. 6 and 7 and 8 are the ones we need right now. But 7 is good. 7 is perfect. Okay, so here we go. So in the code, this is what we have. Commercial zone designation is available along State Route 9, frontage extending west from Pocketville Road to the furthest west commercially zoned parcel. Okay, so that means if it's on, got that eligibility. So say the word from somebody. Eligibility is there. Okay. Now this is hidden in a funky chapter. Jean, what chapter was this again?
That's 4014.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so in 4014, which it won't be there for long because that is a funny place for it. It says, and I was on the commission when we passed this, lots, and it was for this purpose, okay? It was for this exact purpose that we didn't want to have. What do you do with a corner lot, with a corner lot, a little triangle that's everything else is commercial around it, and then there's a little tiny little piece, right? So it says lots smaller than 1 acre established before 2022 that meet all the other requirements, which in this case is only that it's along SR9. And abut an existing commercially zoned lot may be rezoned to commercial. So we have to, we go to the map, the next one, or that, yeah, that's good. Okay, so obviously there's some projects here that aren't along SR9, and they obviously wouldn't be eligible no matter what. There's nothing we can do about that, right? However, we got, I need my numbers in front of me, but we got these two that clearly are. And then we've got the little corner piece that's smaller, but certainly fits all the qualifications except for abutting something. Now, as I went through, looked everywhere I could to find out what we can do about that, there's no time limit. It doesn't say how long it has to be commercial. So yes.
Property across the street is commercial and it is considered an abutment.
Is it? I didn't know that. You should have called me earlier. Okay, so if that's true, then we have two things to consider, and that is that it may be abutting anyway. And the other is if we zone and there's nothing that prevents us from the order of rezoning, it would be easy to make sure that she can have that if we feel like it's appropriate, so. That's where we're at. Darlene, did you have a further comment?
Yes, when you look at the introduction to our planning, general plan.
Let me do that.
Oh, chapter 2, there's a statement.
Okay.
It says we will create a community that promotes a safe, comfortable neighborly environment. That adds to the beauty of the scenic surroundings. So I always ask myself to do that. In this document, it also references the historic quality. And in this document, it talks about community preservation, night skies. And it always seems we just quote that one thing. And it does say in this document, it doesn't say you must have version, I'm not. It doesn't say must. And this document also says, commercials should not be dense. And look what we have. So we talk about following the general plan ordinances, and yet when the end, take the Liberty Project, for example, is dense. And it is going to impact view shed. So if we approve these, my concern is not that we never approve them. No way. I can see both with potential, but I just can't in good conscience, knowing that I don't have to. I'd rather revise the general plan, clean up the ordinances so they support the general plan, and then move forward. And why are we rezoning based on, we don't even know what our zoning map is? If that is true, I don't know why we're voting. I really don't, I think it's irresponsible. Thank you.
All right, well, I'll take a second comment too then. So darling, I think that all of everything that you're saying about what's in the general plan, that is 100% accurate. And the problem I'm having is we don't have language to make any of that measurable or even, we can't even adhere to.
4.02B,
Yes.
to C, 4.04.
Yeah, but remember how you said there's not a lot of there's no musts in there either. So,
This is general plan.
yeah, I know, I'm just saying, there's no must, those are all beautiful suggestions, and what we need to do, I'm taking this chance to say, that's our job right now, is to make our code match our plan. And make them both better and tighter, and really make it possible to make, decisions toward goal, because we don't have that right now. Right now, we have what's in the plan and what's in the.
And I agree.
Wait, hold on.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, so we have our work cut out for us, and really, I hope we'll all just be put our energy into moving forward and fixing the things that we see wrong. Okay, one more final comment, if everyone else has had a chance.
I agree with Darlene that the general plan doesn't need to be updated.
Yeah.
And our ordinances need to be updated to reflect the general plan. But if we started today, that could take 6 months to a year or more. So I don't see putting the landowner in that position.
Thank you.
And I agree that the general plan is a guideline, but I feel like these parcels, because of where they're at, are not only eligible for commercial, but they should be. And I wish we could vote on all of them, but I don't have, our uses are pretty limited, and there'll be like very little impact unless they get conditional use, and then we have some authority to limit. So we're pushing, we should, if there was a guide outfit or a church or a bank there, I don't think it's high impact on residential zone. So my subdivision of Butts being two or hotels, so. But the nice thing about commercial use is it's somewhat regulated, and at 10 o'clock at that RV park, it always stops because there's an on-site manager. And, so I get the not wanting it in your backyard, but I think this is an appropriate place for a commercial zone.
Thank you.
Have you talked to, shooting lots?
Yeah, I've,
Those, you've got them red marks.
that's because they're not eligible. There's no way in the
I
code.
understand that. I just wondered if they can take it off for request.
No, but that's okay, because our job is to recommend or deny, so what we're gonna do, and I might have to make the first motion to get this ball rolling. We'll make a motion on each property and we'll recommend to deny or to, our recommendation will be either to deny it or depending upon the motion, right? So I'll start.
Can
Ready?
I make a suggestion first? Can we just combine 73, 53, and 75?
I'd rather not, I'd rather do it separately for a reason, just because I think it's smarter.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna make a motion to, deny approval for parcel B-48-B.
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks. Well, will you vote?
Yes.
Okay. Ken?
Yes.
Me, yes.
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 Okay, that's everyone, okay. Great, now does anyone wanna go for the motion on the next one? Let's,
Can you tell me who seconded?
I did.
Val. Sorry.
Well, I think you're doing such a good job with these motions that it's. Go right
Okay, here we go. So I would like to make a motion that we, recommend denial of, the rezone for, parcel B-49-A.
Second.
And a second from Larry. Vote Val?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I would like, motion carries unanimous. We're done, yeah? Or no, we don't motion yet? What's the look, Chris? Guidelines. Okay, yes, we are. That's the whole point. Okay, here we go some more. All right, I'm gonna make another motion. We're gonna make another motion that, a motion to deny the zone change on parcel B-72-E.
Second.
Got a second from Larry?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
it's unanimous. So then we have another motion I'll make, which will be,
What was your first?
we did 48D,
Yeah.
then 49, then 72, then now we're gonna do 74. Ready? Sorry, I gotta go slower because Crystal's typing, that's not nice.
No problem, that's all right.
Okay, I'll write it down so you have it. All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we, deny approval of, that we recommend denial, for, parcel B-74.
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we got a second by Larry and unanimous vote. Okay, now I'd like to make a motion that we, recommend approval of the zone change for, parcel B-73. A second by Larry.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Which person was
so
this?
this is 73, it's that big one next door.
No.
Okay, no, thank you. Motion passes. Got four, did you get that? Okay, all right, so, I'd like to make another motion that we, recommend approval for the zone change for, parcel B-53.
I'll second.
Second by Val.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
No.
okay, we got one no. 4 yeses, motion carries. Okay, so now I would like to make a motion that we, recommend approval for parcel B-75, for the zone change.
Second.
Oh, Larry's got a second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
No.
thank you. Okay, motion carries. We're done, thank you, council. Okay, Next one, we're gonna get out of here. All right, who would like to open the discussion on this? Again, you had things to say already, so let's do the rest of that.
Very similar situation, in some way, as to item number one. With regards to how our town currently has SR9 as a in the past and currently eligible for highway resort, not highway resort, but highway commercial. And I think that hasn't always been the case of what was developed, as is evident by the gardens which were developed into residential. And now they face this situation and it creates issues of noise, but I think those things have to be addressed. There's been no evidence of being able to find that this was residential. There's no evidence to be found when it was put into being eligible for commercial. I think it's up to the town council to decide if that is an issue that they can find and deal with. To this point, in my opinion, it's eligible. I have serious concerns about what I hear as to what might be developed on the property. And I think that those things need to be covered with conditional use permit and dealing with the planning and zoning administrator under the current rules and regulations and ordinances of the town. And would love to get together if this gets approved and moving forward and talk about the ideas of the developer and how we might help and encourage the things that we're concerned about with regards to that. I think it falls into the category again of it's time for a general plan revamp and that we work judiciously and quickly as we can to deal with things. But I think conditional use permits have to be the ruling thing to deal with things such as music at certain hours, lighting at certain hours, traffic, turn lanes, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my feeling on, and yeah, I'm nervous when I talk to, so I think I know how you feel. That's all I have.
Thanks.
So I will vote to send it back.
Yeah.
I think it was Jean who said, right, so that this, zone change was voted on unanimously by the town council. And according to our ordinances, I don't see as we have a legal basis to rescind that zone change. Period.
And I would argue that because of the poor quality of the summary that the town council received and their inability to access the recording prior to the town council meeting, that the due process rights of the public at that hearing were ignored. And that's serious. They had no way of knowing what their concerns were. That's a concern number one. You know, and once again, I liked what Shayla said. Shayla, my apologies, Shayla. I can see some lovely things on the property that the hall wants rezoned, and I can see some appropriate things on this other property. But like the others, I have grave concerns about this Camino Party Beach, and a lot of the speakers were for it and against the zone change. didn't have a chance to have their comments fairly heard by the county council. And they made a decision without that, and that's concerning to me. Because everybody's voice matters. And too often when we go, oh, there'll be a CUP. But I've never seen an example of a CUP. That's been a boon to the residents. And that is concerning to me, and it's not because I do not want some businesses here. It's about balance, it's about planning for, in this case, rezoning.
Thank you. Right? Okay, well, wait, funny, the thing about this that is really a problem for me is this ordinance itself, and Darren, you know, you brought up some concerns, but the truth is, we have to consider what's on this paper. And what they have given us on this paper, I wanted to say, why are you giving this to us? We did our job, you're not even saying we didn't do our job, like, nothing about this rescinding ordinance has anything to do with us, with making what we've already done redundant. I mean, even if I agreed with it, which, anyways, I couldn't, because what's on this paper, I can't, this is not an ordinance that I can do it. It doesn't have any, it has no basis that I find credible, and it really isn't our job. There's nothing about planning and zoning. There's nothing that says they need to redo anything, so I don't know why we're redoing it. We shouldn't have this back. So that's how I feel about it. I would love to entertain a motion.
I don't know how to make a motion.
Okay, well, we're gonna try.
All right, so- I move that we recommend against rescinding ordinance 2023-12, right? So that would remain commercially zoned.
So we're gonna recommend it against it, so we're gonna recommend deny.
Okay,
Is that right? Is that the words we want? Okay, recommend deny. So the motion is,
I recommend denial of ordinance 2023-12. Ready to add more to that?
let's do 2020 just 12. Yeah, is that what I'm working? I gotta get my other paper together, right? Yes, and do I have a second on that?
Well, sorry,
Sorry,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
I just want to, you'd be denying the ordinances in front of you.
Yeah.
Which is 2024 now.
So what they're, it's
Yeah.
2024,
Yeah, that's
so the
what I
rescind,
was
okay.
looking for my paper to, so you just do this one. It's on this one.
Okay, I recommend denial of ordinance 2024 dash, it's gonna be a one,
Double X.
double X.
That's what they've got on their double X. Okay, we have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, so let's take a vote. We're recommending denial.
Yes.
Keeping it commercial,
Yes,
A yes for me.
yes.
No.
Okay, that motion carries, for denial of, let me restate that. We have just voted for, denial of, ordinance 2026, the rescinding ordinance.
That worked?
That's it. Very great. All right. Thank you, everyone. And Darlene, if you would like to have something attached when I send this back, if you would like to have your concerns, because you have a lot of concerns about, things that, your town council and then whatever information they have or they have, whatever you think. Please feel free to give me the right of that or pass it. Okay, like I said, everybody's voice needs to be heard. Okay. Now I gotta find where we're at on the agenda. Oh, so discussion on, who is ready to go home? You ready to go home? Okay, well then let me have a little motion because we've had a lot of discussion and we have a lot of work meetings planned, so.
I can make a motion to,
Okay,
Second.
second, okay, we have a motion to adjourn, let's vote on that.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, so we are going to adjourn at 7:12 p.m.